Hello, welcome to Bounty and Soul's Plant-Powered Kitchen. My name is Lyric. I am a program educator here and a small-scale farmer. Here today to extol the virtues of summer squash. We have so much summer squash going out at our markets this week and likely many weeks to come as we move into the summer season when these are growing in our region. We have zucchini and yellow squash. This yellow squash is also very commonly referred to just as summer squash, but these are actually both varieties of summer squash, and they technically come from the same species of plant, the same species that produces a lot of the winter squash and pumpkins you may be familiar with, and they've just been bred over many years to have different color, different shape, different textured fruits. So that's a fun fact about squash. Both the zucchini and the yellow squash are full of nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that your body needs, like vitamin A, vitamin B6, vitamin C, folate, protein, fiber, hydration, the list goes on. So I'm excited for y'all to explore summer squash, to integrate them into your diet and see how you feel. It can be really fun to experiment with and explore and create with summer squash because it's so versatile and there's so many options that you have when choosing how to cook it. First of all, it's completely safe to eat raw. You could shred it using a cheese grater or a shredder and create a slaw or a topping for other dishes. You can slice it thin and add it to sandwiches raw. You can lightly saute it, just enough to soften the insides. After you chop it up, saute it. You could also add it to soups and stews. It does get quite soft, much more soft than a winter squash, so you don't need to cook it for quite as long. So just, kind of continue piercing it with a fork as you're cooking it to get that desired consistency that you're going for. And you can also create two dishes that we're going to be looking at today, which is squash fritters. So that's like creating kind of like a veggie burger patty using shredded squash and some flour, and then you can either bake that or saute it in a pan on the stove. And I've also made some zucchini bread that I'm going to share with y'all, and the recipe for both the squash fritters and the zucchini bread will be in the description of this video and on the Bounty and Soul website. So the first step in making fritters or the zucchini bread is to shred your zucchini or yellow squash. So you can see I've done that. I just used a cheese grater. It was really easy. You could also use a shredding attachment in a food processor, or maybe you have some other creative ways of shredding your produce. I'd love to hear. So I'm just going to add this shredded zucchini. I already have it measured. It states in the description, in the directions of the recipe of the fritters, that you want to squeeze out the excess moisture in the zucchini. That's really only necessary if you put your hand in your shredded zucchini and it comes out really wet and there's kind of moisture dripping out of the zucchini as soon as you shred it. That actually didn't happen with the zucchini. It's fairly firm and it's a little on the drier side, so I'm not going to squeeze it. But the purpose of squeezing, if you do have a really wet zucchini when you shred it, is to prevent your fritters from getting too mushy and to give them a better texture. So I've already measured my ingredients. I'm going to add some chopped onion, finely chopped, some chopped garlic, some nutritional yeast, salt and pepper. I have provided a list of spices that you can choose from. I'm just going to add a little bit of turmeric today, curry powder, chili powder, cumin seed. Those would all be really good additions too. And I'm going to add my flour. I'm using garbanzo bean flour. This is a gluten-free option, and it's my personal preference for this recipe. I really like the flavor and I like the texture that it lends to the recipe, and it helps it bind together without an egg or a binder, a little bit more so than an all-purpose flour I found. Chickpea flour is also really affordable and it has a lot of protein. So now I'm going to stir my ingredients together, and at this point you can really kind of see where your batter is and if you need some extra moisture. Like I said, the zucchini was fairly dry, so I'm going to add a little bit of water, which is going to help to allow the flour to begin to thicken into a batter. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water at a time. So here's what you want your batter to look like. You can see it's nice and moist and it's sticking together, but I don't have like extra runny, you know, like a really thin pancake batter or anything like that in the bottom of the bowl. It's all nice and thick and sticking together, which is exactly what I want it to do so I can make my patties. I also made these zucchini bread muffins, which came out really delicious. I already ate most of them. This is all that's left. They're really good. They're gluten-free. They're completely plant-based. There's no animal products. And it's a great way to enjoy like a sweet version of the summer squash. So you can find the whole recipe description, instructions, and ingredients in the description of this video and on the Bounty and Soul website. But basically I just shredded the zucchini and then I added all ingredients into one bowl. It's only sweetened with maple syrup, and then I baked it for 20 to 25 minutes. I think mine took about 23 minutes in my oven. And now I have these delicious plant-based muffins, and I'll show you what they look like on the inside. Oh, I also put chocolate chips in them because I wanted to. You don't have to put chocolate chips in them. You could put chopped nuts or something like that in there, but I had dark chocolate, dairy-free chocolate chips, so I threw those in. They have a beautiful texture on the inside. They didn't rise that much, like they're a little squat, but they're really like dense and chewy and delicious. Really delicious muffins. It's like a banana bread, but with the zucchini. And the zucchini softens and cooks into the muffin, so it's not like you have these big chunks of zucchini. And you could use yellow squash too. Here are my squash fritters that I fried in the pan. You can see they have a beautiful golden brown, kind of crispy edge. You can hear it's nice and crispy. We'll cut into one. So you can see it held its shape great when I cut it, and it's moist and soft on the inside, so it won't be crisp and tough all the way through. It'll be nice and soft on the inside with that crispy outer shell. So let's give it a taste. Let's see. It's perfect. You bite through this crispy outer shell into the soft, savory inside. I only use turmeric and some salt and pepper as spices, but there's so much flavor held just in the zucchini and the flour. This is a great recipe to serve. You could serve this as a veggie burger, on a sandwich, or as a side with some other vegetables. You could serve this, you know, in like a backyard cookout. You could pack this for lunches. You might want to wrap it in a paper towel so it stays a little bit crisp, and the paper towel can pull excess moisture away from the patty and keep it a little crisper. But right off of the skillet is going to be the best way to eat these. And here are my patties that came out of the oven. Of course, I didn't fry these in oil, so they don't have any oily surface. Great for folks that are avoiding oil for anti-inflammatory reasons, but they still have that nice crispy outside that the oven helped create, and they'll be nice and soft on the inside. So I hope this video was helpful as you begin or continue to cultivate your relationship with summer squash. I am available to answer questions about these recipes, about summer squash, about growing summer squash, because that's something you can do in our region. So feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the description of this video, and I look forward to cooking with you again soon.